it comes from a certain laziness from labels and agents and the American industry in general that everybody copies, where instead of pushing talent, they push BBL, ratchetness, and they create drama to sell stuff because the whole population and social media is making people, is serving people things that make them click, and drama make people click. So social media gets more publicity if you click. So the algorithm will favor drama because of the inherent way people are, humans in general.
Yeah.
So now they will put this, and whenever you're gonna have this, whenever you see a rapper that is a great rapper, she's a woman, she has like, doesn't have a BBL, and then is just a talented person, she's on top of her is going to be a bunch of people that are put against each other that don't even write their raps and stuff, because the industry will prefer that, because they're after the quick buck, and even more in the microwave world that we are now.
I feel like it goes deeper than that. They, like, women internalize that shit. It's crazy. If I tell you, it goes to a level where I, for instance, experienced that another female artist that I just met, like, try to then get into my husband's DM, and I'm like, what are we doing?
When he has a twin.
Like...
Twin.
But it's like stuff like that. Why do you need to feel that competitiveness on that level?
It's,
you know, like,
I remember
it's just so
seeing
wrong, where it's like, integrity. Where is your integrity in all of this? You know, where it's like, you just need to feel that, oh, I have a win over this person, when it's like, you're willing to do that? It's like no morality, you know?
I've seen managers and agents and labels in the Zouk industry explain to people, to women, hey, you have to do this show and such as oh, the conditions, I don't like them. If you don't do it, such and such will do it. It's just those little phrases. And you're like, wait, I was like, wait a minute. He's your manager. He should not tell you this. He should fight for you to get what you want. If you want an extra 300, 400, 500, 1,000, that's his job to do it. Not to tell you, if you don't do it, such will do it. And then she would reply to me, the problem is that other girl is also in the same management. And I was like, oh, that's conflict of interest now. Yeah. Like, you cannot, and that's where it starts. Like, when you make all these women believe that their existence in the market is fragile and they can disappear just because they don't do something, then they all start thinking that there's only one or two or three chairs and it's 20 of them and everybody's fighting to sit on those chairs. And me, I kept telling all these artists, like, the last 20 years, hey, there's so many chairs in the world.
So many.
You don't need to sit in those three. Look, just here, there's another one. There, up there. But soon as you stop talking to them, those people come back and they're like, are you listening to Kaysha? And so it's hard to speak to people about the future when they are in the industry, when everything that is being taught to them is now. And they believe that whatever they do now is eliminatory. And when I tell people, hey, listen, sometimes it's better to sit this battle out. We stay in the studio while everybody is fighting outside. We create songs because everybody's so busy being outside that they don't have time to do songs. Let's stay here, let's create, and the whole time, let's create. But then social media comes, and whenever they turn on their phone, they see competition being on stage or on the beach, on a scooter or XYZ, and then the emotions, they start feeling like, I'm not there. I'm not there. People are not seeing me. And I'm like, yeah, you have to let the market breathe. You have to let people forget you a little bit so that when you come back, you fresh. Those people are gonna burn themselves. But in the moment, people are like, yeah, but it's easy for you because you have multiple markets. I'm like, I have multiple markets because I built them. I was not born with 1,000 markets. When I was big in Portugal and when I was big in France and the West Indies, and everybody was telling me this summer you have to go to France, and then summer, like all the way until the summer you have to be in France, and then West Indies, so that in September you come back to France and something's gonna happen. I was like, well, I'm gonna go to Portugal. And I went to Portugal with Nichols and Ali, and then from Portugal we ended up in Angola, then Mozambique, then São Tomé, then etc. And then when everybody was going to the West Indies, I was like, well, listen, I'm gonna go sing for free in Brazil because I have to find new markets. And this is how you create something global. But then most of these people, when I was explaining to them my whole strategy, after that, once you're done with a great conversation, the next day, they are sitting with their enemies. They are sitting with the same people who are trying to trap them in this mentality of, hey, such and such is trying to take your job. Such and such is, and so then it becomes hard because you start realizing that people like us are alone in this industry. It's an industry that is exploiting people. And when you come and you try to go against the rules of this industry, the industry will crush you too. And they will try. They will try.
It's changing now too, because if you think about
the tools are there.
The conversation is changing. The tools are there. People are talking openly about a lot of these topics.
Yeah.
So I think that the tendency is already shifting already.
Yes.
And the big guys are already trying to get a stronghold over these things that we use as tools to become independent. Yes. But they're not going to win, and that's the thing, because we're so many and they're still a minority. If you look at it, they just have, a monopoly at their hand to play gatekeeper. But I think that it takes really having multiple people like you and me having these conversations in the public space to really unlock, because I feel like people are already having these thoughts, but you're right. When you're surrounded by the wrong people, you can be influenced in the wrong direction. But it really takes showing it, because for instance, like, I think that when you're an artist who's constantly releasing music, there's no way you will be able to constantly deliver good work. Impossible. You need to have space in between, live life a little bit, get inspired by life, and come back and make music.
Yep.
But the problem is, because we live now in a stage where we live in, where music is so fast-paced, you're forced to release music, every week, every month? Is that sustainable? How long can you do that? It's a question of time, and it's a question of stamina, And
it's a question of,
you're different.
I think it's a question of strategy.
Yeah.
You have to find the right pace that works for you, and you have to understand why you are doing it, and what you're trying to achieve with it. Because again, success.
You're right. Goals are different.
Change completely.
For instance, for someone who wants to stay on the top of the charts.
No, that's impossible.
That's what I'm referring to. It's like, It's like for you to stay on the top of the charts and stay relevant,
But
you
you can't
cannot do
anyway.
that. And it like not even Beyonce is doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Of
she
course.
goes and disappears and then she
Yep.
comes back. You don't see her constantly releasing stuff because when she was trying to do that, nobody liked her. Remember, this was before she had a child.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is diverting. But I think that for you to be able to sustain a career in music, you have to be able to create other revenues, other like streams of income. So you don't have to solely depend on music. So you don't have to be
Exactly.
forced to push out music when you perhaps are not in a position to push out music. And that's something that perhaps maybe they're aware, but they just don't have a choice because they don't have other streams. Maybe they're not aware and they think they really can do it,
A lot of time they're
and
not.
push it out.
A lot of
And
time they're
and
not,
and
and
yeah,
you the the ultimate power. I learned that from Apple. That's not from me. But the ultimate power is the power of no.
mm-hmm,
When you can say no to a featuring, no to a show, no to a release, no to a business,
mm-hmm,
that's when you have the power.
yeah,
When somebody tell, hey, listen, this show, da 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 da, and you're like,
yeah,
I'm not interested. That's not my price. Yeah, but this, and this, people didn't hear you for a long time. And you're like, listen, we've been negotiating for 4 days. Whatever money you were proposing to me, I made it already. So thank you.
yeah.
And you're not going to waste more of my time. Come back when you're ready to
Can
pay.
can
When
I
you're
say
there.
something in regards to that?
Yeah.
Right before I started my tour, I had a promoter approach me and he was like, I want to invite you to come to a show. And then I gave him my price. And he was like, yeah, I think that he said that 50% of what I asked for would have been a fair share, a fair price for me. And I was like, so what's the point of you asking me, right? And this goes to everyone that's listening right now. If somebody approaches you, asks you, what is your price for whatever business you do, whether it is music, whether it is, I don't know, interior design, architecture, whether it is, whatever it is, somebody approaches you, asks you, what's your price? And you give them your price, and then then they come back and say, I think this should be your price. Do you think that's a fair conversation? Do you think that that's a good conversation to have, or is it a form of disrespecting? Even if you say, because this is what this person did, not to disrespect or downplay your value as an artist, because we all know who you are and what you do, but I think this should be your price.
Happened to me. Happened to
I
me
know it's a common thing, but it's
the four
like,
years before something going on came out. Yeah, people were like, I paid you that much 10 years ago. Why should I pay you this now? And I was like, because I'm a legend.
goodbye. Yeah, no.
And
Yeah,
sometimes I
hang
was
up.
like, I would tell Beleza, oh, that person, I don't want to work with them ever.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, this, no, it's not the question of money. It's a question of what they said. And again,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
respect. Yeah.
power, the building that power. And it's something,
Hmm.
listen, I still tell people all the time. Once you have the power to say no, you are super powerful. It's a superpower. I remember somebody called me about somebody that really disrespected me in
Hmm.
in in artistically and personally.
Hmm.
And the person did, we did a whole album, and then once time to do the second album, I was not there anymore. So
Hmm.
it flops. So now they want to do a third album. And I'm starting to hear chatter about, people around me. Yeah, it would be good if you work with such and such. And I was like, it's not going to happen. It's not happening. There's nothing nobody can do to make me work with that person, especially if people, they don't have the courage to come and say, hey, I messed up. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
So that I can hear it and process it for a few years and maybe then be like, all right, let's try
Yeah.
again. No. They will send people from everywhere. They will go cry to people, be like, oh, it's a misunderstanding, da 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 da, but they will never come to you.
Come to you directly, yeah.
So then I get a call from Africa. Mm-hmm. Hey, such person who is very, very, very rich wants to work with that person. I'm like, yeah, and listen, they're willing to offer you 100,000 euros. Mm-hmm. That's outside of how much the beats are gonna cost, how much your studio time is gonna cost, how much everything you're gonna do. Well, even if after that we have to pay you an extra 20, 30, 40
whatever,
to work on with that person, just for you to say, I'll work with that person. You will receive, if you say yes now, you receive 100K tomorrow. And I was not even like, oh, 100,000 euros. I said, I'm not interested. And the person was like, Kaysha, are you crazy? We're talking about 100,000 euros, bro. I was like, I'm not interested. Then the manager of the artist calls me. Yo, I was like, I'm not interested. Then Harold calls me. I'm like, oh. All the people, they smell the money like,
yeah, they're like, are you crazy?
because they understand that if that person is ready to back the album, this is gonna be crazy. And me, I was like, my respect doesn't have a price. I'm sorry. Yeah. Stop calling me about that. Everybody was in despair. And then even people were like, you refused 100K? I was like, yes, I can refuse 100K. And then I went on another project and I made 300K.
See.
But I have the power to say no because I built it. And most people, they don't want to take the time to build their power to say no. To say, hey, no, I'm not doing this. No, I'm not going there. No, I'm not sleeping here. No, I'm not performing this way. This is a superpower, men or women, and even more women, that you have to build. You have to build. You have to learn how you can build it. You have to sign the right things so you can build it. And most people, in this industry, they get guided by their emotions. And it prevents them from thinking, wait. I'm in this position, and I'm gonna have to first have a solid back so that when I have to hold myself and when I have to say no and I have to not be hungry.
Yeah.
And in a way, you going from what you've learned makes you the perfect person to teach this to the women after you, because you had the time to build outside of music so that you can say no to some things and say respectfully, thank you, bye. It's important.
Yeah, because I went and did my own, because this person offered me, I can do your tour through Europe. You just got to come down with the price. And I was like, look, thank you very much, but no thank you. And then I went and did my own tour. Because I then was like, you know what? The power to say no and the power to be able to not rely on music as the only stream of income. You know, and that's something that I think many artists need to consider. You may be successful right now, but what's tomorrow? Do you have a plan? Like, do you have a retiring plan? Do you know
what a rich person is?
Tomorrow will be? What?
A rich person is somebody that has 7 streams of income.